This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The biggest icon in podcasting.
Welcome everybody. This is the latest edition of Doc and Jock. I am the Doc, John McEnroe. Joining me as always, my cousin Adam, the Jock Strozinski. What's up, cuz? What's going down? Looking forward to this week's broadcast.
Dude, like the greatest weekend in football ever? Maybe? Like, I don't know how you top this past weekend's games, because it was absolutely incredible. I think we got a little bit of a clunker with the Green Bay San Francisco game, but that was a nail biter and came down to a last second field goal. All these games this weekend, absolutely crazy. You know we got to talk about it. There's a lot of Detroit interest wrapped up in everything that took place this weekend, and I got a question for you about overtime in the NFL and why it is the way it is, because I think it's bullshit. So we got to get into all of this.
It was among the best weekends of football I can imagine. It's always good to see the Packers choke one away. I think that potentially could have reverberating effects all across the NFC North. I thought it was great to see Cincinnati take the next step. Everybody was looking at, could Joe Burrow march into Tennessee and handle business? And oh my God, yes, he easily answered the bell. And you had the Rams, and that was a nice comeback victory. The nice comeback by the Bucs, and the Rams had an opportunity late to move forward and have a nice play by Matthew Stafford, take the bull by the horns, as they say, and secure a victory. And then the main event, which not too many times, cuz does the hype sometimes, the hype for that game was just out of control. Not too often does the game live up to the billing, but oh my God, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs put on an exhibition late in the game. If you made it through and you were patient and you had the wherewithal to sit through until the fourth quarter, you were entertained at the highest level of professional football when you see two quarterbacks just gunslinging it back and forth, no defense needed. And let's start there for a second, because I think that was the biggest talking point outside of Matthew Stafford here in Detroit, because it was such a great game, because it was back and forth, because it was Josh Allen battling Patrick Mahomes in a duel that I think a lot of NFL fans are excited to see now down the road for many years to come. Josh Allen sits on the bench after getting to overtime. Unfortunately, the Bills defense let the Chiefs score with 13 seconds left. The big mistake there was actually kicking it out of the end zone. Boneheaded mistake, bad coaching, and the Chiefs just marched right down the field in 13 seconds, kicked the game-tying field goal. They get to overtime, they win the coin toss, and the Bills just had everybody knew. I mean, I knew, you knew, everybody knew once the Chiefs got the football, it was a wrap. Josh Allen doesn't touch the football, and it's a game over. And I think a lot of people, when they looked at that, said, man, I'm not so sure I'm exactly thrilled with the idea that Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills offense didn't get a chance. But look, cuz for me, that's the rules. Stop somebody, make a good coaching decision and kick it inbounds and take 4 seconds off. I think that would have put the Chiefs in a very precarious situation, but they made a big mistake. And when your defense, the number one ranked NFL defense, is called upon to make one or two plays and you don't make it, that's what happens. I don't want to change it at all. I think this is great. I think that yes, the coin toss should mean something. It's called fate. It's called the Chiefs get the ball, but the Bills had a chance in that overtime to stop the Chiefs. You didn't have to give up the touchdown. That's the only game ender. Going in that defense in overtime is supreme, and they didn't answer the bell. So I'm okay with leaving it as is. I think the coin toss makes it absolutely one of the most important aspects of an overtime. I don't have any problem with it. Let Josh Allen sit there. He's got to learn to live with it. Patrick Mahomes was on the other side of it. He took the medicine, and now on the other side, he came out and was victorious and moving on to the AFC Championship. I'm curious to get your sense of it. I don't think you have to micromanage everything. I know Amon St. Brown of the Lions came out and said, the coin toss shouldn't mean that much. You had a large contingency trying to extrapolate different meanings of that. But for me, I think it's great. This is overtime. Defense, do your job. Or if you have the lead with 13 seconds left, don't let your opponent go that far down the field to score a field goal. That's that. The Buffalo Bills were complicit in their loss.
Did you just hear yourself? You said that a coin toss is important for winning a football game. That is ridiculous. An offense, a defense, special teams, a quarterback, a wide receiver, a running back, a defensive end, a safety cutting across the middle to intercept the football. Those things are important to a football game. Those things are important to winning a football game. Not going out there and having chance be on your side when a coin is flipped. This game could still be going on right now. That's how that's how both those offenses were going, and that's how that game was going. I don't know if I've ever seen that many points put up, and I think it was like 93 seconds. It was absolutely bonkers. Each time the offense touched the ball, they were marching down the field, putting points on the board. I feel like in this game, the Bills were done so dirty because of an archaic, stupid rule. The Bills should have had at least a rebuttal. At least a rebuttal. Get a chance to go down there and put a touchdown on the board, just like the Chiefs walked down the field and scored a TD on you. This was one of those things where, as fans, I feel like we were robbed because this was a great game. This was an incredible game. It lived up to all of the hype. It lived up to all of the billing, and it was spectacular. And it was fantastic and so much fun to watch. And then for it to end the way it ended, yeah, it ended in a pretty glorious fashion for the Chiefs. But the Bills not being able to come back or to even be given an opportunity to come back, I think there's something really wrong with the rule. And look, I know this is how it gets done. I know this is how it's been played. And I know this is what it is. I understand that. It doesn't mean I have to like it, and it doesn't mean it's right. And games like this, games specifically like this, are the reason why the rules should be changed, are the reason that it should be investigated, and there should be some type of amendment to this rule. Because what the Bills were doing, especially late in that game, and what Gabriel Davis was doing in this game was unreal. It was nuts. Like Josh Allen, basically, last year, Josh Allen, everybody knew Josh Allen. Josh Allen had arrived. This year, Josh Allen cemented his place with some of the elites in the league. With a guy like Patrick Mahomes, he said, "I'm here." And for him to not be able to touch the ball in that overtime, I think is criminal. I think it totally leaves a little bit of a stain on that game. And yeah, Josh Allen came out and he was like, "Look, I just got to take my medicine. If we were on the other side of that, we would be happy. We'd be celebrating." He's like, "The rules are the rules." And I get that. But Josh Allen, I'm here to defend you, and I'm here to defend Bills Mafia, and I'm here to defend Bills Nation against an absolutely stupid rule that the NFL continues to impose. And look, if you want to keep this rule for the regular season, I'm okay with that, right? Because you're trying to limit possessions, you're trying to limit contact, you're trying to limit guys being put in situations where they get hurt. But when you're playing for a championship, and let's be honest, I think the winner of this game is probably going to be playing in the Super Bowl. I want Cincinnati to get there. I love the story of Cincinnati, all right? But I don't know how anybody, whether it's the Rams, who we're going to talk about, whether it's San Francisco, whether it's the Bengals, I don't know how those teams necessarily match up against this high-octane offense and this defense that can make stops when it needs to. Now, the Bills did not make the stop when they needed to. Twice. 2 drives. But all that being said, I think that offense should have had a chance to rebuttal, and they didn't get it. And I think in overtime, in the playoffs, you've got to be able to give whichever unit is the best on your team a chance to make a play, a chance to help your team win it. And the way the rule is set up right now, only one team usually has that opportunity to put their best unit out on the field and to make that play. And I just think it's dumb. I think it's silly. That was a great game, and I think we were robbed. And I think the way it's set up is just silly. Would you not have wanted to watch more? Would you not have wanted to see those guys go back and forth? I thought it was great.
It was amazing. But here's the thing, okay? How much of a change are you willing to make to the game of football in order to make this happen? Here's the thing. Just like in the UFC, they say if you don't want it in the hands of the judges, then you win by TKO. You force the action. Go for the submission. Go for the TKO. The Buffalo Bills made a lot of mistakes. And then in overtime, all you got to do is not give up a touchdown. That's it. Don't let the football cross the end zone, which is part of the game, which is defense. Okay, remember you said it. Offense, defense, special teams. That's all part of it still in overtime. The idea is it's just who starts the game with the football. The only thing you can't do if you want to be able to have possession is not give up a touchdown, which puts an onus on a defense, which was number 1 in the entire league. So you had 2 chances on defense, which was your noted strength to stop the Chiefs. And I say this, I think that sometimes we look at making rules and things like that, and then you say, well, the other team then has a chance. But I think that, the NFL will consider it and look at it. But I think it adds to what that game was in order to potentially look at this game in totality. You say that it wasn't just a coin toss. That dictated that the Chiefs would get the ball. Fine, no problem. You're not supposed to then let Kelsey, the guy that's been dominating you the whole time, get open. You're not supposed to let Tyreek Hill have the opportunity to have that many yards after the catch. You can't let these players just, roll over. I know it's an offensive league, but there are things you can do pressure-wise. There are things you can do to try to force the issue, force Mahomes to make a mistake. It was not a robbery. You needed the game to end eventually. And I think the overtime rules right now, the way they're constructed, are fine if they were to stay. If that were to happen to the Lions, it would suck, but I would own it and things like that. I would not be calling.
You would be on these airwaves bitching about it if they have the Lions.
I would say, of course, it's a coin toss. Of course, the Lions, it's like tails never fails. The Lions would be out there on the field, heads, 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 screaming at the top of their, and be like, no, it's tails never fails. It's like everybody knows. That's what we'd be screaming about. Would be like, who said to call heads? And then Goff would be like, well, it was Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra would be like, well, it was DeAndre. DeAndre would be like, I thought Deuce told me. And Deuce would be like, well, we kind of looked at it analytically. The last 5 times we called tails, we lost. And we like, okay, who the hell called heads? Yeah. So I don't mind it. I enjoyed the game. It was a 10. I was glad because it was, getting late, that when it ended, it was, a great situation.
It sound like you're an 80-year-old man.
Dude, that was a lot.
Late.
That was a lot of football. That was a lot of emotion back and forth with Allen and Mahomes, and that was like the second game that was the 4th game of the weekend. Man, that was a lot. So I was glad it ended. I was happy. Was that one of the better football games? Was that in the top 3 of all time that you've seen?
I mean, I think so.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was a fantastic football game. Like I said, I didn't want it to end. I wanted to see these guys just keep going back and forth, and I wanted it to be a will of submission. I wanted whoever basically fatigued and got tired first to lose, because it was so damn fun. It was so much fun to watch it. And it's very rare that, as sports fans, we get to turn around and we get to say, man, that was so much fun.
That was sweet. That was
a great game. Normally we're bitching about things. We're finding things to bitch about and to complain about. In this game, there's nothing but the rule. The rule is the only thing to bitch and complain about.
Real quickly with Joe Burrow, props to him.
Oh my
God. That's what a number 1 pick does.
Dude.
And if you're the Titans, you just got to realize, man, you hitched your wagon to Ryan Tannehill. I mean, come on. You're in the prime. You have Mike Vrabel, and that's what you do. The turnovers were critical, and Joe Burrow took advantage, and man, oh man, that was shocking. I think a lot of people were surprised that the Bengals won, but they deserve their spot. They also are in the mix now in this rivalry. The Bengals, the Titans, the Chiefs, and the Bills, they're the class of the AFC, and they're led by amazing quarterbacks outside of Ryan Tannehill. They got to look at that. I mean, their cap situation is screwy in that they can't just broom them out. But the Titans, you hitch your wagon to Ryan Tannehill, it bit you in the ass. So we got to talk about it, because
hold on. Before we talk about it, let me say this about Joe Burrow. All right. Joe Burrow is so damn impressive. Okay. And I don't think there's enough good things I can say about him. What I love most about Joe Burrow, I absolutely love Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield is awesome. And then Baker Mayfield's incredible, right? Joe Burrow is the elite form of what Baker Mayfield embodies. He's the moxie. He's got the arm strength. He's got the swagger. He's got the confidence. He's got the ability to go out there and basically hit every check mark that you need a quarterback to hit. Joe Burrow is going to be absolutely amazing in the future. Unreal. Now let's go on and let me break my flamethrower out because I've got to set a lot of people on fire. So let's just go do it.
It's crazy because the way I look at it with Matthew Stafford was, hey, great opportunity to play well. He went to a perfect situation. And there's an added layer now when I hear reports, okay, and we're talking about the Rams and their victory against Tom Brady and the Bucks. You're hearing now that, again, the 49er fans could be dominant coming into SoFi. So not only did Matthew Stafford go to a perfect situation, he went to a market where the fans don't even care. They're not even going to fill SoFi Stadium with Rams fans. There's not even enough Rams fans to support a team that's going to show up potentially to the biggest game of the year. You're going to get outshined by 49er fans. And I get it. The 49ers are a storied program, something that, you know, a storied NFL history and everything like that. But Stafford really went to the right spot for him. He went to a spot where he didn't have to have all the pressure. He didn't have to be Joe Burrow. And he didn't have to be Ryan Tannehill. He didn't have to be Aaron Rodgers. He didn't have to be Tom Brady. He went and he glommed on to a team with a lot of talent. And that's a lot of talent, an all-in team. And that's something, if you're a Lions fan, you should be pissed about. You should be pissed that the Lions did not go potentially all in with, like, getting Sue, Calvin, then getting another tight end and a wide receiver and pushing in to that degree. For whatever reason, I looked at that and said, it's almost impossible for the Lions organization to push all in. You can't overpay 9 Hall of Famers to come here. It's Detroit. It's not LA. It's not the place where you get your ass handed to you in taxes, but you have so much opportunity with bumping into Hollywood, to network, to expand your brand and marketing. There's so much that appeals to Los Angeles that it's different. The Lions could not have gone all in. I don't see that. You can't pay 6 people max contracts. It doesn't work like that. So Stafford found the situation where, oh my God, this is easy. I can go where not only there's Cooper Kupp, there's Robert Woods, there's amazing talent, there's a couple of running backs, there's an offensive genius as a head coach, and there's no pressure. The one, maybe 2 tough questions are going to be probably prefaced with so much positivity in front of it that you're not going to take the heat. So he goes to the prime situation like LeBron did, and he performs. And I look at it like this. Now the argument starts. Now is for me where my assessment starts. Because and I talked about it last week, but I'll reiterate it to this point. When we're talking about Twitter arguments, I don't go and look at the extreme of the argument where people go, the real argument was fans said that Stafford would never win a playoff game. Well, that's stupid. That sounds stupid. Number 1 pick, 13 years in the league, and he's got arm talent. Nobody with a football brain is going to say that this individual could never have the potential to get 1 win. In Detroit, you could say that, but when he leaves, now is the time to turn up the heat. You're up against the 49ers who have defeated you, I believe, 7 times in a row, twice this year. Now show up. Now do what you did against the Bucks. For me, it starts now. And that's my argument, is that he hasn't won anything. Look, you don't go and say, I give you all these props for winning 2 playoff games. You're absolved for all the nonsense in Detroit. No, you're not absolved. The organization, yes, the Lions had a part in it, but Matthew also did as well. You don't get to absolve all the pick sixes and pick and choose when he struggled. He struggled. Did he have moments where he was great? Of course. He led comebacks in the regular season. He did well for what he was asked to do. But you paid him top $15 to do what he's doing now with the Rams. And that's it. He'll tell you that. I don't lower my expectations to make extreme arguments. The argument is, can Matthew Stafford win at the highest levels? For me, I think this is where it ends. Or if it ends, I potentially want the flameout to be in the Super Bowl so that he who laughs last laughs the loudest. And that would be a winning argument. But now Stafford's in the great situation that he's in. He did the right thing for him. He did the smartest thing possible for his situation. So I give him credit for doing it. But you look at it, the reaction that people are having, like having a parade, screaming up and down, you recognize he quit on you. You're cheering for another team. You sound stupid. You sound like a desperate fanboy trying to glom on to the man's success. Like, dude, the girl moved on. You don't go and have dinner with her and her guy. You don't become the third wheel. Detroit fans have become the third wheel and are buying jerseys, becoming Rams fan, when potentially he ultimately, by winning, is fucking you more. You're picking 31 at the moment. That means you take Dean off the table. You take Jahan Dotson off the table. You take Chris Olave off the table. You're now moving into a lower class of player. So yeah, he got you a first round pick additionally, but potentially you're increasing the risk that Brad Holmes misses. So when you look at it and you guys are all glomming onto his nuts, you sound stupid. And you can't claim a victory yet until the man gets, we're not moving the goalpost if the right argument is made. The goalpost for me, for John Macaroon of the Detroit Sports Podcast was, I said, Lions, be proactive. I screamed from the high heavens, don't resign him. You're not winning with you. Don't resign the man. He ain't worth it because whatever reason, the mix, him and the Lions together won't work. 5 years ago, we were screaming this. They still gave him the contract. And then you get embarrassed when he quits on you. That's embarrassing. When, look what's happened too, guys. You guys are fans of the Lions. Every single article is shitting on you. Every single thing is, the Lions suck. They're the worst organization in the history of sports. CBS Sports has become Lions PR negative all of a sudden. They're shitting on you and laughing at you when you could have been the one standing there going, we don't want you. That's what an organization does. So the Lions are fucked on two swords. One, they were wrong about Stafford, and two, they're getting the brunt of it nationally because when he goes to a team that can put together talent, then it makes you look like a stupid-ass organization. So this is why the Lions are where they are. But I don't sit here and glom on little successes. 2 playoff wins. Great. That's more than the Lions had, and that's more. Joe Burrow just got that. So when you guys are out here gloating and hanging on these guys' nuts, you sound like a loser. You sound like somebody that's happy when you were a D student and you finally cracked that C-. Get out of here with that. Have higher expectations for the man. Have higher expectations for your own team. That Matthew Stafford did not do all that he could do to get this thing to where it needed to be. So he has a culpability in it. When nobody's moving any goalposts, if you're going to sit there and gloat over the most extreme takes, then stay on Twitter and take the victory. But for me, John Macaroon, I say go do it now. And I just still see it. I see the bad game around the corner, or I see, potentially Garoppolo and Shanahan taking it down. But we'll see. I'm excited to have the chance. I know you for sure are not happy with the slappies.
Yeah, I can't stand the slappies. Look, I'm going to come out and say it right now. Matt Stafford played well. Matt Stafford played really, really good. Matt Stafford has played really, really well in 2 playoff games for the Los Angeles Rams, something he wasn't ever really able to do in Detroit. I mean, he is putting up crazy numbers right now. But look at how insulated he is. So, John, you're absolutely right. The fact that people are out there saying, we're going to take our victory lap now because he won a playoff game. We're going to take our victory lap now because he won 2 playoff games. That was never really the bar. It was him going out there and winning. Look, maybe for him, this is on his checklist, right? Like to go out and win a playoff game, go out and win a division title, go out and win an NFC championship game. These should all be things on his checklist that he is working to check off, and he is playing some of his best football of his career right now. But for the people who have basically held on to this lotto ticket with Matt Stafford, who is no longer your quarterback, he wanted out of Detroit. He said, screw you guys, I'm leaving. Okay? I can't win here. I won't win here. I want to go someplace else. I want to go to Hollywood. Send me to L.A. Shows up in L.A., and he's cashing checks there that he was supposed to be cashing here. And you pinhead moron fans are loving this. You're absolutely loving this. Look, I'm going to read you a text message that I had between me and a Stafford slap, and I just had to stop talking to this person because I was going to get irritated, and it was just going to go down a road that we don't necessarily need to go down. So from said Lion slap, Stafford slap. So Matthew, hey, Matthew, no, it's Matt Stafford, no. So Matthew, hey, the fuck? Okay, cool. Yeah, he played well. I was rooting for him to implode because I was rooting so hard for him to implode. Instead, he sent the GOAT home on the road. That's what the Stafford slap said to me. Best football moment of my life. Wait, hold up. What? Let's pump the brakes. Best football moment of your life? Rooting for a guy who plays on a team that's not even your home team? Wait, what? This is where we're at as Lions fans. That's where we're at as Stafford slappies.
Yeah, embarrassing.
Wish we were able to talk about this. Yeah, this is my response to him. Yeah, that defense made Brady's day a nightmare because that defense was all over Tom Brady. Brady looked all out of sorts that entire game until the final quarter when they started going to some short stuff, which opened up some stuff that was open down the field. I don't know why they didn't do this earlier. Neither here nor there. That I said that pass to Kupp was clutch because that final pass to Cooper Kupp, it was incredibly It was incredibly clutch. He showed something on that pass that he struggled to show here for about 12 years. And that was pinpoint precision and touch all rolled into the same pass. And he was able to do it with Cooper Kupp on this particular play. Hey, you got to give the man credit when he deserves credit. And on that pass, he looked like a G. We were asking for this for years here. Instead, he'd be throwing darts at guys 5 yards away. It's why Megatron's got fingers that are bent crooked and look weird. And then he said, and Stafford's offense made his life a nightmare, laughing my ass off. Wait, what? Stafford's offense? That offense shut down in the second half. That offense almost gave it away in the second half. What are we talking about here? It is weird how Matt Stafford fans view his accomplishments. It's absolutely crazy. To me, what it really feels like, it feels like the parent who has the kid who can do no wrong. It feels like the parent who gets called to the principal's office because their kid socked another kid in the face just because. And that parent being like, oh, no. Not little Maddie. Not little Maddie. Maddie wouldn't do that. Cool. We've got cameras in classrooms now. Let me show you the video. That's not Maddie. Maddie wouldn't do that. That's not him. Are you guys watching the same stuff? Are you in the same reality as the rest of us? Yes, Matt Stafford has played really well through 2 games. The end goal is for him to win a Super Bowl. I still don't buy that he's winning a Super Bowl. Until he wins a Super Bowl, I'm not buying that he wins a Super Bowl. For the Stafford slaps to come out and to be like, look, we told you so. See, do you hear Dan Orlovsky go off on ESPN radio and basically call out Detroit fans, call out the media in Detroit? Look, Dano, all right, I'm going to need you to stick to your end zone and maybe try not to run out of it. I'm going to need you to hold on for a second, all right? Because when Matt Stafford was here in Detroit, he couldn't win anything. And if that's part of the organization, yeah, it probably is. If that was part of Matt Stafford, yeah, probably was. If that was part of the entire mix, probably was, okay? I think we all agree it was a bad fit. Matt Stafford and the Detroit Lions here, bad fit. Just didn't work. It didn't work. They didn't surround him with enough talent because obviously he needs to have Hall of Fame edge rushers like Aaron Donald. He needs to have wide receivers that are Pro Bowl caliber like Cooper Kupp, like Odell Beckham Jr. You have to have a triad of running backs like Cam Akers, right, Stoney Michel. You've got to have all of the pieces in place for this guy to do that. Here's my big thing. He played in a playoff game where he could have won it, and that was the Dallas game. Everybody points and sticks their finger out at the picked up flag. Stafford got the ball back and could have led that team down the field to score a touchdown and win that game. He didn't. He failed. He failed in that game, all right? He failed in the brightest moments when he was wearing a Lions jersey, all right? And there were times where he could have did something that a guy like Tom Brady did, where he takes a step back, totally restructures his contract, takes less money to go get better players. He did restructure his contract, but instead he took all that money as signing bonuses. He never really gave it back. He helped with the cap structure, but he never really gave the money back like a guy like Tom Brady, who for years was taking $20, $25 million a season to win Super Bowls, whereas a guy like Matt Stafford was taking $35 million a season to finish dead last in the NFC North.
And see, here's the thing, too. If you're the Lions, you needed to kind of think like the Chiefs and the Bills did. Matthew Stafford had a strength, but somebody in that organization should have said he lacks the mobility. We can't build a perfect offensive line with injuries and everything. We can't build a super team. We need to move on. When the time came, they should have done something with Stafford and expedited this rebuild 5 years ago. They should have recognized it wasn't going to work. We would have been at the same endpoint, but maybe we would have been now in a position to be one of the up-and-coming teams. That's the argument, is that Stafford was never going to win here in Detroit. That's the argument. It was never going to happen. So, great. Okay, let's say he wins a ring in L.A. What does that do for you? That validates what? That your team sucks? That's what you want to go out there and continue to spew as a fan? Everybody knows the Lions situation. So I think it behooves the Lions, in my opinion, when you see Mahomes, Allen, and you see what the next makeup of quarterbacks are, go find somebody that's mobile. That's probably go find your Josh Allen. Because Mahomes is like a freak. You're not going to find someone like that. Try to find a freak athlete like Josh Allen that can come in here and move this thing forward and kick this off the ground. And that's the bottom line I think a lot of fans look at is, let's kick it to the present. I mean, look what Stafford says in video conferences. A reporter probably from Detroit asked what happened in Detroit. He's like, I haven't thought about it much. I'm living in the present. I mean, you understand the fans are talking about it. Give us a carrot. Give us something that is hopeful. No, you can't. I don't think about it. Okay. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it. I thought the nugget, though, with Ndamukong Suh was cool because I think it kind of lends to maybe some of the situation in the locker room. Maybe a lot of the fans were like, well, maybe if Stafford didn't suck up all the money and wasn't the golden boy, maybe the team could have been a super team. But we'll see. You know, I wonder if anybody will discover why Ndamukong Suh hates Matthew Stafford, but I thought that was really a fascinating nugget. But real quickly, let's get to your prediction. Tease it out here. I know that maybe don't give the final scores so that this weekend when you give your predictions, we can read it. But how do you see these championship games playing out? Which two teams get there? Who gets to the big game?
I think the Rams get there.
Oh.
Dude, it pains me. It does. It pains me.
It's not bad.
The 49ers are so beat up.
Chiefs winning would be amazing. To get there, that's the ultimate hurt. Yeah. If you're a dickhead like myself, man, that'd be the ultimate hurt to have Stafford walk
right
up
there.
the field. Yeah. Oh, to taste it. Oh.
You know what? I hope the Rams get there, and I hope they just get embarrassed. But I think the Rams beat the 49ers, and it's just because Jimmy Garoppolo is so beat up.
Yeah.
I think that defense is really good, but that offense, it all runs through Deebo Samuel, right? So, like, if you can come up with creative ways to get him the ball and get him in space, it'll work. But when your quarterback's got torn ligaments in his wrist, he's got a beat up shoulder, it becomes really hard to move the ball down the field. And I think that's the weakness that the Rams have is moving the ball down the field. It's those quick plays, those 2-second plays, right, where the quarterback takes 3 steps and then just gets the ball out. And I don't know if Jimmy G has the ability at this point in the season to be able to execute in that quick of time. So I just don't trust the 49ers. I trust the Rams a little bit more to get to the Super Bowl. And look, as much as I would love to see Cincinnati get there. I think it's a great story. I think it's a fantastic story. I'm going to go with the Rams, or I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, there's just so much there, like with that offense. That offense is, you've got smart players everywhere. Did you see the mic'd up with Kelsey basically predicting and talking about how to win that football game? Like when your tight end's coming to your quarterback being like, look, this play's there all day. Feed me, or going to Tyreek Hill, like get behind me and I'll open up a lane for you. When your tight end is that incredibly smart, like that's crazy, man. And like I don't know how you put money against those guys because they just go out there and they just do it. They just win it. And that offensive line has finally gelled. They look so good. I think they are better than they were last year headed into the Super Bowl. That was a team that leading up to the Super Bowl was playing at such a high caliber, and then they got decimated by injuries. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'm going to go Chiefs, and I'm going to go Rams.
Oh, that would be nice. I think I would look the same, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams fall short in this round because this potentially could be another situation where it's a 49ers home game, a pseudo home game at SoFi. Right. That's embarrassing. But hey, that's what Matthew Stafford wanted. He wanted the less pressure, big time team, and he just wanted out of Detroit. And good for him, really. Bottom line, he knew it. He recognized it. He put Detroit out of its misery, and he got his way and is having some success. But you got to raise the bar a little bit. You got to set your bar high. You don't set your bar at 2 playoff wins and things like that, and then argue the lowest common denominator. Let's argue the extremists that message us on Twitter. That's kind of funny at the highest level. But we'll see. We'll see where this goes. But the wise people say, hey, at least we're in the conversation to have the debate. At least there's the if we play the foil for people to spew their venom, then that's what makes sports fun, is that, hey, if there wasn't Doc and Jock, if it wasn't our Twitter page, then you'd have nothing. You'd just be, doing the self high five. You know what I mean? You got to go out there and have somebody say, see, I told you 13 years you were spewing this, but I got my 2 weeks in. Okay, guy. You got it. I'm already 111,000 tweets in. I've already tweeted about Stafford 50,000 times. You got your 20 in, bro. Congrats. That's how we win this argument, huh? I argue my point for 13 years, and you argue yours for a month.
For 2 weeks.
Exactly. Let's look at the receipt here. So exactly. So I'll take that every day if I end up being proved wrong by a million. And then real fast, I want to clear something up because I had a tweet go crazy and it was funny. So as I was sitting there watching the Rams game, you just sit there. First of all, it's a Sunday. So pretty much that I'm probably going to have an alcoholic drink in my hand. So I wasn't buzzed, just 1 or 2 in, just drinking some bourbon. And how I operate this Twitter is how I've operated it since I have started it back in 2013, which is if I think it, I'll tweet it. I don't care the ramifications. I don't care what people say. Good, bad attention, good attention. It's all whatever. It's just sports. It's a debate. It's just me firing off shit. And then 2 minutes later, 5 more are going to come. But I had a feeling that it would spark a little bit of debate in regards to, I said to myself, I wonder if, Cooper Kupp has a following, or if he has anybody that likes him that would say that he's better than Calvin Johnson. So I didn't think I was trolling or thing like that. It's just a stupid Twitter account that asks questions. That's what this is. It's just a guy firing off tweets that are from his head. No thought behind it, no trolling intention. It's just, you guys are thinking I put a lot more thought to this than I am. I just fired it out there. And then I'm like, okay, let's go to some stats, All of a sudden, it was like, what? Huh, bro? I got called the N-word. I got called this. I got called racist. I got called every name in the book. And I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. These are all, what I did was inadvertently, because usually I can kind of predict the reactions, but this time it was out of left field. The reaction was, how can this idiot out of Detroit believe that Calvin Johnson is not the GOAT compared to Cooper Kupp, who's only done it for a year? I just really wanted to get the pulse of what was going on. It was one of the biggest tweets we've had in 5 years. It even outdid the Michigan one. And I still getting a couple of comments here and there. I blocked everybody that called me racist because you're being stupid. But there was like 5 people called me racist. But the memes are funny. And guys, the funny bloggers out there that say, stop following this account that posts this stuff. It's funny that you would say that, but really it's an inverse reaction. The more I do it, the more popular it gets. It's weird, guys. Yes. I sit here in this chair talking to my cousin who's a respected journalist and somebody that is not acting like me. But all I can say is the more I do it, the more popular we get. It's weird. I can't explain it. I think people just want to have that foil to point to and call stupid or whatever it is. But guys, it's too late. I'm 10 years in. I've been podcasting with Adam since 2013. I have a blog that is fairly popular that potentially other people will reblog and put stuff out there. When we write stuff, it tends to have a little bit of influence. Not a lot, just a little bit where people will talk about it and see it and get it out there in the atmosphere. So at this point, I've already reached the goal. It's done. You can't cancel me at this point because my intention, you got to remember, I'm a psychologist. I have another career. I do this because I love it. I have Wednesday off, the last couple of weeks just to enjoy my time with my family and podcast with Adam. So to that degree that you think I'm taking it that serious, I'm sorry guys, it's not that. It's a stupid Twitter account that's entertainment, and I didn't mean to. Actually, to be honest, to get the reactions, great. Like I said, I when people message me that stuff, I go, thank you, you're helping the cause. Because the more you tweet me that I'm stupid, the bigger I get. It's really weird. I'm trying to put it into words why that is, but 400 quote tweets, all of them pretty much saying, guys, I also believe that Calvin Johnson is the GOAT. I also believe that Cooper Kupp is not as big. So if I ask a question, it's not a take. So for the 15th time, I'll say it, but it was funny to see that reaction. And I'm sorry if you got any of that with it. I never want you to hit the shrapnel for my nonsense. But that's what it is. We're almost 111,000 tweets into this, and people are like, this is a blasphemous. Do you really believe this stuff? I'm not putting any thought into it, guys. I really am not. I just sit there, and the premise has always been, if I think it, I'm just going to tweet it. And whatever happens, happens. If it costs me a job, so be it. I don't care. That's what it is. And that's why I love this platform, is for the 1,000th time I get to say, hey, I put it out there. I take the heat. I love it. And it's a fun opportunity. But I do want to get your sense real quickly. Are you nervous at all from what you heard about Sean Payton retiring? Because that potentially opens up the possibility that Aaron Glenn could go, maybe join Dennis Allen's staff. I don't think, look, cuz I know that people love the Lions and they freak out a little bit, but that's kind of a stretch to believe that Aaron Glenn's going to go from defensive backs coach, 1 year DC, to head coach of the Saints. Dennis Allen has experience, has been a head coach before, was the DC last year. And I said this on a video at SIL Lions. If you're Aaron Glenn, you want the interview, but you don't want the job. The Saints are in salary cap hell, and your quarterback that right now has been put at the throne is Taysom Hill. That's not where you want to go. I think you sit back, take the interview, and in the end, you come back and you coach and get more experience in Detroit. Cause it's not that bad in Detroit. You're going to get some talent, some young talent. You get to coach potentially Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau. Why would you leave? I think everyone freaking out about Aaron Glenn is absolutely premature in their emotional reaction. I think that there's an opportunity here to get some experience on the interview circuit, but no way, Jose. Aaron Glenn will be your DC. Don't worry. Are you looking at it the same way?
Yeah, look, he had one pretty decent year. Like, you can't even say it was a good year because statistically, they look like crap. But the eyeball test shows you that there was a lot of growth there, and that's what Lions fans are excited about. And I think that's what Lions fans are nervous about, is they seen a guy who was able to basically take a bunch of spare parts and turn them into pieces. And all that being said, yeah, that's great, but he's not going anywhere. And why would you? Like, the bar is so low here. Like, Lions fans are ready to enshrine this guy and give him a bronze statue in a year where they won, 3 games? Like, what are we talking about here? The bar is so low. Like, the Lions fans are so deprived of anything good that when you get to see a guy like Aaron Glenn go out there and take bits and pieces and make things happen, you're instantly worried about somebody else taking him. He's not going to go anywhere. Yeah, he's going to go, like you said, on the interview circuit. He's going to go with the experience. He's going to go pick up a couple of things here and there through the interview process, and he's going to be able to help build himself out a little bit of a resume, and next time an opportunity comes up, then he can present himself. And you're right. Who wants the Saints job? You don't have a quarterback. All right. Taysom Hill's your guy. And it's pretty obvious that's not going to work. The salary cap structure there is an absolute nightmare. Not as bad as Green Bay, but still a bit of a nightmare. I think if you're a Lions fan, you don't have to worry about Aaron Glenn going and taking the Saints coaching job. If I was a Lions fan, I would be crossing my fingers that Dan Campbell calls Sean Payton and says, "Hey, can you come be our offensive coordinator?" Because that would be great. That would be mind blowing. Like, Sean Payton obviously created a playbook. You've got a guy in DeAndre Swift who, yeah, he's not Alvin Kamara, but can do the same thing, right? Can catch the ball out of the backfield, can run between the tackles a little bit, can be your utility knife. You get a wide receiver who can help stretch the field a little bit. He can draw up some really creative plays, a la Michael Thomas. You've got an offensive line that can pull with some guards, can do a couple of things that really help spread the field out a little bit. Oh, you need a tight end who can catch the ball and do some crazy things and help stretch the field there. You've got that with TJ Hawkinson, a la Jimmy Graham. I mean, I just feel like Sean Payton would be the perfect offensive coordinator here. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. He'll probably go home and sit on his couch, or maybe he'll go to a TV booth. But if you're Dan Campbell, I think you got to make that phone call or at least lob a text message.
See, I had a chance to watch the majority of his presser. He looked worn out. He said, "I'm just not into it." He even said it. He said, "Coaching could be in my future." I saw it as a guy that said, "Look, I've been somewhere since 2006. I won a Super Bowl. I just lost one of the biggest quarterbacks of all time. COVID, the entire scandal with the Saints and their defensive coordinator several years back." So you look at it and you say, it was a mutual parting of the ways. He needs time off. The coaching grind is crazy. It's like,
I don't think people understand that. I don't think people understand how hard it is.
Yeah, everybody showing up at 5, 6 a.m. and staying until midnight. And that's just baseline. Most coaches maybe even stay longer. So you got to commit, because that's what everybody's doing. And to do that for that long, kudos. I saw the highlight on the NFL's Twitter page when he, against Jim Caldwell, he called an onside kick to start the second half of a Super Bowl. And the balls that took, that's the onus of what Dan Campbell saw. So you hope that Dan Campbell learns the best and learns at the highest level on how to execute his play calling as he gets better. But yeah, no, Sean Payton is not going to be your offensive coordinator. He could come in and maybe have a executive role, maybe, but I doubt it. He wants some time off, take some TV dollars, and then have an opportunity to maybe, because, listen, these people at the highest levels, they're not playing checkers, bro. They're playing advanced European style, Asian style chess, which means 5 moves ahead, looking at all the pieces, understanding what needs to happen, and it's going to happen. The next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys is going to be Sean Payton. And it's a lovely situation that he'll walk into, and he can coach his dream job, walk off in the sunset taking Jerry's money, and he can call it a day. But he needs a year off to relax, vacation, not show up at the office so early, not battle and have to worry about so many decisions. But it would be great. But I still think that, potentially speaking, and we're going to table it because I want to see what Vito says. But I think I'm going to have you put your thinking cap on, because there's a name out there that might ruffle feathers, that is outside the team currently, that has experience, that maybe could be a fit. And that name is Matt Nagy. I want to see your sense after you do some of your research over the next week. Put it on the sheet. Would you go apeshit if Matt Nagy was picked up and got a phone call and came in? A former head coach, somebody that won in your division against you. I want to get your sense of it as we transition toward the end of the podcast. But before we go,
you want Matt Nagy as an OC is what you're saying. So I'm putting it on the sheet right now.
Yeah. What would the pros and cons be of Matt Nagy? Look to SIO Lions, potentially as this drops, that will be looked at as well by Vito Churko. I do want to get your sense real quickly, turning our attention to college football. Just a couple moments, your thoughts. Mike McDonald going back to the Ravens, which is a weird kind of story to look at. You concerned at all about the disintegration of Jim Harbaugh's staff? Because that's kind of weird where your brother gives you the biggest asset. Or it could be like one of those things where it's like, look, who's going to help you get the contract? That's your brother. But he needs somebody, and that's more important than you. So you got to the playoff. That kind of eases the blow here. But if you're Michigan and Jim Harbaugh, and you're a supporter, isn't that a little bit weird that McDonald took the job for 1 year and then is out? That's kind of weird.
I don't think it's weird. Look, I think his goal is to be a head coach in the NFL one day. So I think him coming here, showing that he could do it as a defensive coordinator, was just part of the process. I think it's weird that he was here for 1 year and he's going back. And I think if you're a Michigan fan, that makes you feel a little bit unsettled and unstable. But if you look at what's going on with the head coach, does anybody know what the hell is really going on with the head coach? I think if you're a Michigan fan, you feel like he's coming back next year, but there's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of rumors. You really don't know what's going on, whether he's coming or whether he's going. So if you're McDonald, you got to do what's best for you. And doing what's best for you is probably going back to Baltimore in a situation where you feel really comfortable. You've proven that you can handle being a defensive coordinator as you've gotten a bunch of guys to that next level. I mean, look, we're going to see how many guys get drafted this upcoming year, but I can guarantee you it's going to be at least 3 guys off that defensive team that's going to get drafted, and 2 of them are probably going to go in the first round. If not, 2 of them will go in the top 35. So, I mean, that speaks to what you've done. That speaks to who you are. So I think it sucks for Michigan, but I think it's great for McDonald. I think it's great for the Ravens. It also speaks to where I think the Michigan program is at currently. Yeah, you just had one of your best, if not the best season in history, but you don't know what's going on with your head coach. And he keeps playing this weird game where I might go to the NFL, I might stay, I might do this, I might not do that. Nobody really knows. And I think that's part of the issue.
All right. Lovely. I can't wait to see what happens as this evolves too, because I just think because you look at it, for Jim Harbaugh, the game is different. Running the football is great. It's old school football, but the game, that style, I think takes a lot of work to try to implement. Like you got to build a line. You got to get a running back. You got to have a running back stay healthy. I just don't think he fits in the NFL. Why not just ride out the sunset at Michigan? Because you get there one more time, and now people are going to kind of get off your ass a little bit. I know the heat's always there, and maybe he believes that he can't potentially go higher than where he is, but you only got to do it one more time, and you can ride off into the sunset. So we'll see how it plays out, but I think the odds are he's going to get a nice contract at Michigan, and he'll figure out how to kind of deal with, the ramifications of all the flirting that he's doing. I think it's just really good for him and an opportunity to really, it's win-win. You go back to the NFL, take a nice fat paycheck and go back, or you stay at Michigan where 90% of the people love you and the heat fades away from February until August. If you really think about it, cause football is the greatest sport in America because it's like real passionate from August until January. And then for most teams, they fade off because their seasons are done. And then you get like 8 months to do whatever. Like Jared Goff is vacationing in Turks and Caicos. Trey Flowers is in Brazil living his best life. So I think you can handle it in recruiting and handle it to be a college coach. It's tough, but you can assign responsibility to other people and you can extend your career for a long time. So in my opinion, I think the odds are that Jim Harbaugh will come back to Michigan. Make sure everybody follow Adam on Twitter at AdamRSTROZ. Podcasting time is coming to a close. Anywhere at all that you listen to your favorite podcast, just type in Detroit Sports Podcast and all our content will find you, and you can listen to old shows, current shows, breaking down Michigan, the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, and Wings, and always check out SI All Lions for your Lions coverage. Cause I enjoyed this hour. It's the best hour of the week. I enjoy it. And for this weekend, guys, lather up in the baby oil, honor Adam, and just really enjoy your guy who's playing for another team. And if that's what you gotta do, that's fine. I'll be sitting in my office where it's all Lions all the time. All Lions all the time. And what's in the best interest of the Lions is focusing on the players on the Lions. This has been the Doc. Podcasting time is over. Doc and Jock. For Adam Strozinski, I'm John Macaroon. I can't wait to fire this up next week. We love doing this for you guys.